Hey there guys, what is going on? Today we are going to be talking about the best guns in each category, each class, you know, the SMGs, your assault rifles and so on, that are going to be in Season 5 Reloaded. We already have had the weapon balancing patch a little while ago that did change the Tech 9 and of course the EM2, but are we still going to see those on this list? Yeah, probably. They're still pretty good. Just before we do get into it here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it. It really does help me out. Every day when I do see our little community grow, it does mean an awful lot to me. So if you could help me grow this little community of mine, that would be absolutely fantastic. So as I said, we are going to be talking about the best gun in each class, in each category, with the best class setup in Cold War Season 5 Reloaded. So starting us off here, we do have the best assault rifle, that being the EM2 still. This still has a TTK value of somewhere between like 240 and 250, 60 milliseconds, depending on how you do want to look at it. This thing is still an absolute demon. This thing did get nerfed recently to have its fire rate reduced with the task force barrel by 7%. And that does actually make it a little bit more difficult to use, I'm not going to lie. This actually does affect the gun a little bit, but with a weapon with a slow fire rate, it can be a little bit tricky if people are moving around. So you got to hit every bullet, be very accurate with this thing. But the EM2 is still the best assault rifle in the game, man. An honorable mention, of course, would go out to the AK-47 and the Fire 83, but the EM2 just kills too fast at the moment, and this is just such a versatile weapon. You can kit this out pretty much however you want. In terms of our attachments here, we actually do just have a muzzle with the suppressor. We want that muzzle flash concealment. This does reduce our damage range and our bullet velocity a little bit here, which is not too big of a deal. We take a look at our numbers, we still get 51 meters of damage range and 970 meters of bullet velocity. Giving us those stats are, of course, the task force barrel, which does allow us to get that 3-shot kill still. As I did say, this does reduce our fire rate by 7% to 500 rounds per minute. This can be a little bit more difficult to hit shots if people are moving. Like, you have to be very, very accurate with this thing, but because it still doesn't have any recoil, it's ridiculously easy to hit shots with this thing. Then, of course, we go to the magazine. We want that Stat 40 round mag. Basically, just give us the most amount of bullets to fire here. We get a slower reload speed as a result, but it's not too big of a deal. And this does actually reduce our aim down sight speed as well. But to counter that, we actually take the airborne elastic wrap here for 30% increase to our aim down sight speed, meaning we can get those sights up nice and quickly as soon as possible. And then we finish this off with the Raider stock here, of course, for the sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed increases. Again, you can switch this attachment out if you do prefer a different optic. You don't like the little scope thing that it does have on it already. You can swap that out for a microflex LED if you do prefer that. Next, we do have the best SMG in Cold War, and in my opinion, that still belongs to the Tech 9. Now, this thing does still have a 3-shot kill, even though they did nerf it in the most recent patch to have its damage changed to 41 and 45 with the task force barrel. However, with the headshot multiplier of 1.4 times, a 45 damage headshot is times by 1.4, giving us about 63 damage, I think, off the top of my head. Meaning you add a body shot and another body shot and you get a 3-shot kill, which does keep the same TTK value. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to use this thing, as you do have to hit that skill shot. Again, another very cool thing about the Tech 9 is, of course, how versatile it is, and we'll talk about that in the class setup section. With the muzzle, you can take the burst fire repeater. We did feature this in a video the other day, and this might actually be the new meta. It does have a very, very fast TTK. But with the full auto repeater, it's just so easy to use, man. You just aim it at people and blow them away. And again, you can get that 3-shot kill still with this attached. So don't worry about that if you still like the full auto repeater. Making that possible is, of course, the task force barrel, giving us that 3-shot kill if we are getting that headshot as well. Or if we are just using the burst fire mod, this just gives us a straight up 1 burst kill, which is really, really strong. Then the underbarrel, we are going for the field agent grip if we are using this in the full auto variety, meaning we can stay on target and hit as many bullets as possible with this. However, if you are taking, of course, just the burst fire mod, you can take a foregrip or not run a grip at all if you prefer that. Then we have the magazine, 39 round mag if we are using the full auto, because you just need more bullets to fire with this thing. Again, you can drop this off if you are using the burst fire mod, and you can end up taking like a Raider stock or something like that as well if you do prefer. And then we round this off with the airborne elastic wrap, giving us the most amount of aim down sight speed here. It really does help with that aim down sight speed, get those sights up nice and quickly. Now, the best tactical rifle in the game is not something that I've thought about for a little while, and I still think it is the Carve 2 that we did feature in the last video, and nothing's changed with this thing, so this is still probably one of the best tactical rifle options in the game. But if we take a look, like all of the options that we do have available here, Carve 2, DMR's fine, the AUG's pretty good. It's a little worse than some of the other weapons on this list. The M16's still good at close range, you just blast people away with that 1 burst kill. And the Type 63 is basically just the DMR 14, so that's good too. A lot of people have been using that in Warzone actually, so I expect to see a lot of you leveling this up at the moment. But I still think the Carve 2 is just the best thing in the game at the moment. In terms of tactical rifles, being able to get that 2 burst kill from like 60 meters away is really, really fun. Attachments, again, the silencer to give us that muzzle flash concealment. We basically use a silencer on most of my class setups where possible, just to stay off of the radar. Good players will hunt you down on minimaps if you are firing an unsuppressed weapon, so just keep that in mind. You'll live longer with a silencer. Then we have the task force barrel for the most amount of damage, the most amount of range, and of course that bullet velocity here. This is a great stat increase across the board. You can take the titanium barrel to increase your TTK value a little bit up close, it is a fairly significant difference, but if you are fighting at longer distances, the task force barrel is what you want to go with here. Then the underbarrel, because this thing doesn't actually have any recoil, it's a pinpoint accurate laser beam. This thing is the infiltrator grip for 5% movement speed stats across the board. So movement speed, shooting movement speed, and aim walking movement speed does help us move around the map more quickly. Then we take this to the handle, serpent wrap, to not reduce our close range stats in our sprint to fire speed and our shooting movement speed by as much as the airborne elastic wrap. Then we have the stock. We want the SAS combat stock here for 10% shooting movement speed. And because we are aiming down sight most of the time with this weapon, we take the 50% boost to our aim walking movement speed over the radar pad, which only offers us 40%. The LMG category, we can take a look at some of these weapons. Like the Stoner 63 used to be absolutely dominant. The RPD's never really been the best gun in the game. The M60's pretty good, but the MG82 is the one we are looking at here today. And I just think the high fire rate on this thing makes it so good. It does have about a 280 millisecond TTK out to about 30-ish meters or 30, 40 meters or so, I think, off the top of my head. I can't really remember the number. But I mean, this thing's just an absolute demon. I really do appreciate this thing. It has basically no recoil, and you can sort of drop off an underbarrel attachment if you do prefer that, and sort of mix and match your attachments if you do prefer. But we start off with that task force barrel again, increasing our damage, increasing our range, and our bullet velocity is basically the only barrel you want to go with most LMGs. This is just such an upgrade here, man. Look at the numbers here. We get 33 damage per bullet, giving us a 5-shot kill. 38 meters worth of damage range and almost 850 meters worth of bullet velocity is really strong. Then we have the underbarrel. Mostly we'll be taking the SFOD speed grip for this sprinting movement speed increase of 12%, as well as a little bit of extra recoil control. You don't really need this, as I said previously, but this is still a nice option to have. You can take an infiltrator grip if you just want more movement speed stats across the board, but this is up to you. Then we have the magazine. We want the big bad boy, the Salvo 150 round fast mag here for just a decrease to our aim down sight speed of 10%. Plus we get a fast reload, bigger magazine, max starting ammo, max ammo capacity. This thing is just a demon. I love this attachment on this gun. And then we've got the handle. We have the airborne elastic wrap for the 30% increase to our aim down sight speed here. Very easy attachment to pick because we just want more aim down sight speed with LMGs. And then we finish this off again with the SAS combat stock for the shooting movement speed as well as 75% increase to our aim walking movement speed. Again, we want to aim down sight as much as possible with this thing. The best sniper in the game is really subjective. Like most people prefer either the M82, the Tundra, or the Swiss K31. And it really does depend on how you do want to play the game. I like the Swiss K31 because I like to be a little bit more aggressive. I know it is less reliable in terms of getting those one-shot kills, but this is probably the most fun sniper to use in the game and one of the best for sure. Again, you could probably just flip a coin between the Swiss K31 and the M82. It really is up to you and sort of depends on how you do play. If you like to sit back a little bit further, the M82 is probably better. But if you like to be more aggressive, the Swiss K31 is probably for you. Again, interestingly enough, there's a lot of variety with the attachments here, but most people will just take the Tiger Team barrel for more damage, giving us a slightly better one-shot kill zone as well, maximizing it. I think it's sort of mid-torso up. I think you're going to get a one-shot kill. Plus we get more fire rate, plus we get more bullet velocity. Then the magazine, we do take 8 rounds. The Tiger Team barrel does reduce our bullets that we get, I think, by 2. It's a decrease of, I think, what are we looking at here? It's a decrease of 17%. So that's about 20%. I think you lose 2 bullets with this thing. Then we have the handle, serpent wrap, 14% aim down sight speed is a pretty massive boost here and the best we can get across the board here. Airborne elastic wrap doesn't do it anymore. Then the stock, we take the Raider stock as well. The sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed. Now the last attachment, you can basically choose between the infiltrator grip in this slot. You can take the Tiger Team spotlight in this slot. Or I've even seen people running the sound moderator on this just to decrease that bullet velocity, but give you a silent sniper is still really powerful here. So again, if you like being aggressive, sound moderator is still good, but you can pick and choose out of any of the 3 available attachment slots there. Moving on to the secondaries here, this is one of my favorite additions to the game. We're looking at the pistols, and this of course is the Marshall. Being able to basically just delete someone from the game with a shotgun pistol hybrid is just so fun up close. If you were using this thing as your only weapon, however, I would probably take the extended barrel just to give you a little bit more punch out range. You're not super likely to kill anybody at like massively long distances, like 10 plus meters or so, but this can just give you a little bit of assistance. But the cut down barrel, if you are just using this as your secondary weapon, really does increase your close range lethality. Then of course the Dragon's Breath, just to give us more damage here. This does reduce our effective damage range, but I mean, you want more damage with your pistol, very simple. Then the stock, we want 2 of these bad boys, which is just so much fun to run around with and absolutely delete people who are up close. If we were to look at the shotguns, I mean, the Marshall's probably still the best shotgun. It's not even categorized as a shotgun, as you can see in the secondaries. It's a pistol, but I mean, it is probably the best shotgun. It's just like the most consistent up close killing machine. But outside of that, if we actually did have to rate a shotgun, I would probably say the Street Sweeper, but I would definitely prefer the Marshall over the Street Sweeper, so that is an interesting position at the moment. And then in terms of the last category that we do have here, that's the special category. I mean, like the R1 Shadow Hunter, I guess, because if you're an absolute accuracy demon, like you can just destroy people with this. But I mean, the nail gun gets a 3-shot kill, so I guess it doesn't really matter what we pick here. If you like these weapons and you think they're the best in the game, you're probably way, way too good for me, so don't worry about that. So that is our completed list here, guys. These are all the best weapons in my opinion in Cold War Season 5 Reloaded. However, there's a lot of fantastic weapons in the game. When we do make the rankings videos on the Tier Maker website, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff, especially for the SMGs with the most recent changes. The PPSH-41's good, the LC-10's still good, the AK-74U's still good, the Tech-9's good, the Burst Tech, like, there's just so many good options in this game at the moment. I really do appreciate the balancing team for doing all that work. I mean, the Tech-9 and the EM2 are still broken, but they did rein them in a little bit and they made some other stuff better. So again, thank you very much for watching this one. I do massively appreciate it. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. It does make my day when I see our little community grow, and it does mean an awful lot to me. So again, thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!